Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome back to The Voice Within. Make yourself comfortable, make yourself a cup of coffee or tea, and let's have conversation this Sunday, like every Sunday so far, almost for the 2 years. The time is flying very quickly, and I cannot believe that soon will be 2 years of my podcast, and it feels like yesterday I started it. Today, I want to talk to you about peace. Today I want to have conversation with you about some wisdom that I gained in the previous month of me choosing deliberately to be silent. You see, I decided month or a bit more just to go quiet on social media. I was talking in my previous podcast episode that I'm quiet, and even in the previous one I was mentioning not that I didn't had nothing to say, not that I went quiet because something was happening in my life and I needed to distance myself. It was simply decision to remove myself from the noise, to keep my podcast alive, because it's very important, this space, to me, and I believe to you as well, as you keep showing up every week to listen it. But I choose to remove noise, to remove performance, expectations, what I supposed to be, who I supposed to be, and simply be, just so I could hear my thoughts again, just so I could discover what does it peace truly means for me. I didn't grow up in peace. I grew up in a war. I grew up in very toxic environment. I cannot recall any time in my life where it was peaceful, like really peaceful, that I could say, okay, everything is fine around me and everything is fine inside of me. This month I decided to create that peace inside of me, because everything around me is finally peaceful. I don't have environment in which I grew up. I have stability of my home, peaceful marriage, healthy child. Everything is in its place and how it's supposed to be, and I am deeply grateful to the God for that. But I felt that I need to distance myself from everything to create that peace inside of me. I observe women all around the world, if I can say like that, everywhere on social media, how much we are craving peace inside of us. It's not even anymore about obligations. It's not anymore about the load or heaviness of life. It's just that the discomfort of absence of peace. We often believe that the peace lives outside of us. We often believe that if everything around me aligns, if everything around me becomes peaceful, then finally I can be in the peace with myself. When my children start listening me, when my husband starts behaving differently, when my family behaves differently, when my work is different, when everything around us comes into the place, then I will be in peace. Otherwise, I cannot access the peace. But what I have observed is basically that this kind of peace is peace which is circumstantial peace, peace which is in the hand of our environment, completely outside of our ability to influence that kind of peace. I believe that the most problems that are happening inside of us is basically because we're putting that peace in the hands of others or situations or circumstances. We expecting that the life finally aligns, that everything around us become peaceful, so then we can be peaceful. But if you think about it, that kind of peace is very fragile. That kind of peace is circumstantial peace. It's influenced by other people's behavior, other people's decisions, life things which are happening, and we don't have that much control over that kind of peace. It feels like we are desperately trying to control people around us, our environment, our life, so we could get that peace inside. And then once we put the maximum effort to control everything around us and we don't get that peace, then we get very frustrated and angry at people because they don't behave in a certain way that brings us peace. And honestly, it's easy to be peaceful when the life is calm. It's easy to be peaceful when everybody around us are behaving how we're expecting them to behave. But that kind of expectations are not realistic. Once we start accepting how little control we have over others, how little control we have over our life circumstances, over our environment, then we basically start understanding that the only thing that we can truly control is ourselves. And the only thing that we are responsible basically to control is ourselves. We often outscore our peace for the comfort of others. We often outscore our peace so the people don't feel uncomfortable, so it's easier, so we are not complicated. We betray our truth constantly, every day, in those micro moments, micro decisions, so we could create that imaginary circumstantial peace. For example, your child is not listening to you, and instead of setting stronger boundaries, you swallow, you let it slip. Because why? It's easier in the moment to let it slip than disturb imaginary peace, performative peace. Or maybe you have some argument with your husband, and instead of setting boundaries, holding your stance, you let it slip. Or you maybe even rush to calm him down, because once he is calm, then you can maybe have that peace. Now everything on the surface looks peaceful. Now everything looks like it's okay, and I can be okay now. But that state is very fragile. We are like basically reactive on everything what is happening around us. It feels like we don't have agency to choose our boundaries, to speak up, to create our own peace. So if you would take any of your life situations, and even the micro ones, the small ones, and if you would try to apply this logic. So let's say your child in front of you is resisting you for anything. I don't know, putting the shoes. I don't know why every time I use this example, putting shoes. Most probably because I struggle a lot with my son to put the shoes on time. Take any example, take any your life situation, and try to imagine what would happen if you would choose yourself, if you would set boundary, if you would intentionally choose to feel discomfort in the certain moment instead of choosing the comfort in the moment. Because once you choose comfort in the moment, it looks like, okay, finally I can breathe. I avoided meltdown, I avoided fight, I avoided argument, but you feel that sting inside of you. You feel that the situation is not resolved, that the meltdown will repeat, that everything is influenced by other people's behavior. So if you take that moment and imagine any of your life situation that might happen or it already happened, and try to think about how would it feel if that moment you would actually choose a little bit discomfort in the moment for yourself, for the long-term alignment, for the peace within you. Would you feel better? Would you feel calmer? Would you feel stronger? Would you feel more comfortable, more confident? The sting, that small sting that we are avoiding in the moment, is actually the sting which is stealing our peace. And we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep outscoring the power to everything around us instead of going inward, going inside and choosing ourselves instead. We're going to keep doing this all the way until we realize how little control we have over other people, even our children. You don't have much control over them. As they are growing, they're gaining more independency, more agency, and you cannot basically influence their behavior that much. So if we place our peace in the hands of other people, in the hands of circumstances of our life, it will always be fragile. It will always be something which feels like we don't have control over it. And this is why we feel overwhelmed, helpless. Everything around us is affecting our inner state. And it truly does feel that way until you choose to act differently, until you choose to choose yourself in those tiny micro moments, tiny decisions, which gives you that sting of, I don't want to deal with this now, and you basically choose a little bit discomfort, you choose that sting, you choose yourself, and you start creating more and more peace for yourself. So I want to invite you this week to try choosing your own peace instead of everybody else's comfort. I want to invite you to choose that one moment, some low-stake moment where your nervous system will not panic of setting the boundaries or stepping up for yourself. Choose something which is like not that much overwhelming for you, and choose yourself instead. And see what happens. What happens inside of you? How do you feel? Do you feel better, more powerful, more grounded? or you feel that feeling of I betrayed myself again. And we all know how does that feeling feels when we do something against our true nature, against our instinct, against our signal, how I call it, and then we feel that sting after, I wish I acted differently. I wish I speak up. I wish I set a boundary. So this week I'm inviting you to test it, to try to see, can you create peace within you? Can you stop waiting for other people to change, circumstances to change, life to align, stars on the sky to get in their place, and you take your life in your own hands in that micro shift, micro moment, and you choose yourself and you create your own peace. And let's see what happens. Let's see how you're gonna feel. That's all for this episode for this Sunday. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, take it with yourself. If it resonates with you, run with it in your life. And yeah, that's all. Bye.